Hi oily friends, I'm Yvonne. You've gotten your premium starter kit, and in the kit you got 11 amazing oils to support every body system. And I hope you're enjoying every single one of them. But now it's time, perhaps, to add something new to the collection. So my first suggestion to you today is going to be orange. Now, orange is an adult favorite, but it is definitely a kid favorite. Orange is amazing in the diffuser. I suggest that you blend it with every one of the single oils that you've gotten in your premium starter kit. Try it with frankincense. Try it with peppermint. I think you'll really enjoy adding in that orange aroma to these other base notes that you have. Try it with lavender. That's another good one. Orange is one of those oils that we could call an adaptogen because it's going to be very calming. It is going to be very uplifting and give you that little bit of boost that you might need. It's a great oil to be diffusing on a day like today. Brings in a little bit of that sunshine that's much needed at this time of year. Now, orange oil is very high in limonene. In fact, it has about 95% limonene. Now, limonene is something that, if you don't know much about it, I strongly recommend that you look it up. Limonene, it's L-I-M-O-N-E-N-E. Now, limonene is not found in orange juice. Limonene comes from the rind, and it's the rind that is cold pressed to produce our essential oil. And the health benefits of limonene are very numerous. Again, look it up. You'll be just amazed. Now, as a cancer survivor, limonene is part of my proactive daily protocol. Now, I use it in a variety of ways. I love it in tea. Today, one of my favorites is I take about a teaspoon of raw honey and add a drop of cinnamon and a couple drops of orange and add hot water. And it is one of my go-tos. And on a day like today, when it's pretty cold and snowy outside, it's just uplifting and it feels so warm, and I just love it. So I strongly recommend that you just give this orange oil a try in lots of different ways. Now, just besides your tea and your water, don't forget to add it to a salad dressing. You know, summer is going to come eventually, and all those fresh greens and those fresh vegetables. Make a dip, make a vinaigrette with your orange. It tastes just amazing. Smoothies. Don't forget to add it into your smoothies. Now, orange oil is going to be very immune boosting, as well as those times when you just need it to be relaxing. It's a wonderful circulatory stimulant, and when you think about that as a circulatory system stimulant, it's also a digestive stimulant. It's going to help, it's going to bring in some of those enzyme activity that we need for digestion. Anybody that needs a little bit of support with regularity, it really will help with becoming very regular. So many wonderful benefits. Skincare. I add a drop to baking soda to brighten teeth. So just so many wonderful benefits of adding orange to your wellness collection here. And one of the things that you need to remember when you're using your citrus oils, they are photosensitive. So you want to avoid UV light for 12 to 24 hours to the area that you applied to the skin. Now, sometimes people will ask me questions about, like, oh, can I use it in a dietary way, or how about diffusing? Can I still go out in the sun? Yeah, you can go out in the sun. It's really just topical application. Apply it, many times you'll hear people say, apply it where the sun don't shine, and you'll be fine. You'll be fine. And orange is very inexpensive, so give orange a try. All right, that was one. So here's number two. Now, number two is lemongrass. Now, contrary to the name and what even the aroma might suggest, it is not part of the citrus family. lemongrass is a grass. And the essential oil is obtained by the steam distillation of the leaves. So think about purification when you think about lemongrass. Lemongrass, all those actions in our body that we might want cleansing or purifying, topically as well as internally. Now, so it isn't just going to be great for cleaning surfaces, if you get my gist here. All right, it is supportive to our circulation. It's supportive to lymph flow. Lemongrass would be great to add to a DIY a recipe for a deodorant. I use cypress, and lemongrass is great too. Now, supporting your circulation, supporting that lymph flow, it's also, again, another great oil for digestion. In fact, it's one of the oils that is in the blend digest. So it's a great digestive oil to think about. But really, for me, the reason why I always have it in the house is I love it because it's very supportive to connective tissue and ligaments. And so if you're an active person, whether just a weekend warrior or whatever you tend to be, I really suggest that you add lemongrass into your wellness collection here. Now, lemongrass can also be a possible skin irritant, and I do have sensitive skin. So I tend to dilute lemongrass when I use it. So I'm going to suggest that as you begin using lemongrass, try it diluted first. And if you want to try it undiluted, definitely put it on the inside of your arm where the skin is a little bit more sensitive to begin with, and find out for yourself if you're going to get any kind of a redness or an irritation from it. So that's something to just think about as a caution. Now, when I told you about how I tend to use the lemongrass to support ligaments and connective tissue, I love the ortho-ease, and I will add a drop or two into just a handful of ortho-ease to rub, especially on my joints, my knees especially. So you might want to give lemongrass a try, and before the warm weather months arrive, they will come. I promise you, they will come. It is definitely one of those oils you want to have on hand, because you're going to be adding it to those DIY recipes that you have for those outdoor pesky annoyances. And adding it into your dog shampoo is another great idea. So number 1 was orange, number 2, lemongrass. Okay, third one. Now this one may surprise you. Marjoram. Marjoram. And it was one of the first oils that I ever ordered outside of the Everyday Oil Kit, which was what I received when I became a member of Young Living. Why is it a must-have for me? Well, it's a must-have for a lot of reasons. But when you think about, marjoram, think about relaxing. Think about muscles. Think about the need for any time you have a body signal that is causing a lot of tightness and constriction in your body. Marjoram is going to be wonderful for all of those situations. Even when you just feel uptight, putting marjoram in the diffuser is a great suggestion. But I want you to think about, where do you get this tightness, and why would I use marjoram? So marjoram, in its ability to relax and support and strengthen, maybe tight muscles, or it's supportive not just to the muscular system, but it's supportive to the circulatory system. So think about times when the circulatory system gets constricted and tight. Respiratory system, marjoram is great when you feel that tightness in your chest. Great for diffusing, great for just even on a chest rub. Vascular system, think about, when you feel that tightness, think about, if you're one of those people that maybe needs to relax the jaw. So many uses. Ladies, for when your menstrual cycle, you get those days where you feel that constriction and that tightness. It's an excellent rub. Rub it right on the abdomen. And it really helps to just relax and strengthen and support. So it has become a favorite of mine. I make a blend, and I go back and I use my lemongrass, and I use my marjoram, and I add in some wintergreen, and this becomes a wonderful after workout rub. So give that a try. Okay, number 4. Now number 4 is called tea tree. But before it was labeled as tea tree, Young Living used to label it as Melaleuca alternifolia. Now Young Living actually has 4 different species of Melaleuca that they offer. So this one is called Melaleuca alternifolia, otherwise known as tea tree. And the name is kind of cool because the name actually comes from the fact that historically it was an herbal tea that was prepared from the leaves. Now, tea tree is a very powerful, broad spectrum. It can be applied across a broad spectrum of anything that may need to be cleansed and purified. So a wide range of conditions. It can be supportive too. It's generally non-irritating, but again, when you try a new oil, you may want to try it with a carrier oil until you know how your body or your child's body is going to respond to the oils being used neat or topically. But again, this is another oil for cleansing and purifying, extremely supporting to the immune system. Recommend that you diffuse it in a proactive way, as well as if anybody is coming into the home that perhaps is bringing in something that you would like to cleanse and get rid of. Tea tree is a great choice in the diffuser for that. All right, so now the last suggestion I have for you, and this one is to me one of the most beautiful spiritual oils that I use besides frankincense, and that's cedarwood oil. Now, cedarwood oil that Young Living has, and this is different, I buy all my oils from Young Living, but sometimes you really need to understand the name. And Young Living's cedarwood oil is called Cedrus atlantica. And the reason why this is important to me is that species is the species that most closely is related to the biblical cedars of Lebanon. And there are so many references to cedarwood in the Bible. So if you have not ever read Dr. David Stewart's book on the essential oils of the Bible, I recommend that you do that, and you have an understanding of the importance of cedarwood back in biblical days. So again, I just find cedarwood to be a very spiritual oil that I use very frequently in prayer time, during any kind of meditation time. Now, in the ancient world, cedarwood was not just used for purification, but it was also used for embalming, in their cosmetics, in skincare, as a perfume, and it was used to deter fleas, not flies, but fleas. So, based on that historical information, think about what purposes you might have today for cedarwood. And along with the lemongrass that we just talked about, cedar wood added to your DIYs for your outside annoyances and your pet shampoo is a great suggestion. Now, we talked about limonene when we were talking about orange, but another word that I'm going to throw at you is sesquiterpenes. Now, cedarwood is extremely high in sesquiterpenes. It's about 90% sesquiterpenes. So after you've looked up limonene, I suggest you look up sesquiterpenes. Now, cedarwood has an aromatic influence that really stimulates the limbic region of the brain. And that happens to be the center of your emotions. And it also is stimulating to the pineal gland. And it's the pineal gland that helps us to release those neurotransmitters that we need for our whole body to function properly. But in particular, it helps release melatonin. Now, if you know anything about melatonin, you'll know that the level of melatonin in your body is what helps you to sleep, what helps you to relax, helps you to sleep. So cedarwood is generally a calming and very relaxing oil to diffuse or applying topically. Temples and that is a great place to apply it. It blends extremely well with lavender. And I actually keep a blend of cedarwood, lavender, with some jojoba oil, and I keep it in a bottle with a roller ball top on it. And this is right next to my bedside. So if you have any of those nights where it's really hard to shut the head off, I strongly recommend that you create this blend, or even if you just use the cedarwood, it's going to be very supporting to help you to relax and to just let go of that chatter that goes on in the head. And it has been extremely helpful for me. So here's my last suggestion to you with the cedarwood. And it's really going to be focused on for those of you that are going to be joining me out in Salt Lake City for convention. Now, I've been fortunate that I've been able to be at convention twice out in Salt Lake City, and I just use cedarwood regularly. So the first time I went, I think it was just I was lucky that I was already using cedarwood before I arrived. But since I've been there, a lot of people, when they got out to Salt Lake City, weren't feeling well. They had a lot of fatigue, and they just, the change in the altitude from New York to Salt Lake City is pretty great. So here's my suggestion to all of you coming out to Salt Lake City. The change in altitude will not really affect you as much if you are putting in a lot of oxygen to the brain. And because cedarwood is so high in those sesquiterpenes, it allows the brain to just take in more oxygen. So my suggestion to you is to use cedarwood in a carrier oil and just start using it a few weeks before you head out to Salt Lake as a facial moisturizer, rubbing it on the face in the morning and at night. Now, the cedarwood is going to be very beneficial to your oxygen levels and to the brain, but it's also going to be great for your complexion. Now, think about, historically they use it for embalming. Now, what does that imply? That it helps with anti-aging and preserving the skin. So do yourself a favor before you head out, and you're going to look great and you're going to feel great. So start using your cedarwood. Well, now these are just 5 of what I'd say I have like about 50 favorites. So these are just like 5 of my favorites, and these are just suggestions for you to get started on your, as you continue on your oily adventure. Give them a try. And I know you're going to have your own top 5 favorites, but I'm hoping that you'll find that these become some of your favorites too. So continue on with your oily adventure, and I'll see you out in Salt Lake City. Bye-bye.